So I think it's safe to say, and people would agree with me, that filmmakers get to buy some pretty cool equipment, the kind of stuff other people can only dream of owning. That said, there are a few things that are very boring and very tedious to buy. For me, one is storage media. This stuff sucks. It's expensive, you need it, but it does nothing except go in the camera and record. It's not fun, it's not interesting. Second thing is ND filters. Now, it's not particularly the ND filters themselves that I hate. I do hate the fact that they get so exponentially more expensive for the smallest little additional quality you get. That's kind of apparent with everything in filmmaking. The main reason I hate them is adapter rings. You all must have been on a job site and you forgot your adapter. You've got your lens, you've got all your gear, you've got your gimbal, you've got your microphone cables, you've got your SD cards, you've got your filter, and you forgot your 82 to 67mm adapter. And it renders all the equipment useless because of a €4 ring of metal. So unfortunately, the only way to get around that is to buy a filter for every single lens you have. But I normally adapt my 82mm lenses down to 67, 52 for some of my old Yashica lenses. But since getting the Sirui Nighwalker set of lenses, I want to have a filter that is dedicated to these. It stays in the bag, it's always there, can't forget it, no adapter ring, 67mm, done. So I picked up two from Amazon. They're both Neewer. I've never had any Neewer filters before, I'm quite a KNF fan. We got the Neewer True Color, and we got the Neewer MRC. This was €28, this was €78. So the two main issues with variable NDs is vignetting and color cast. When you stop the filter down, it can produce vignetting and color casting. So they're the two things we're going to check today. So the first test is from this window. Looking out, everything on the camera is locked off. We start with the control, and then we jump to the MRC filter and then the True Color filter. We stop down, go back, and you can see the difference. Then we're going to jump to like 1 second back-to-back shots so you can really get an idea of the color cast or vignette that may be apparent. Then I'm going to put a big white diffuser in front of the window and shoot into that. You might see a little bit of the background through it, but it gives you a much better idea of the vignette, and we can see on the waveforms the color shift as well. So one is kind of like a true to life and one is a scientific test. So let's take a look at them. So this is the control, no filter. We are stopping down on the MRC. As you can see, it's not bad, but we're getting some dark area over the playground here. Then we jump to the True Color, much better flat overall image, and we stop down. On the right side, we're getting a bit darker, but not as bad as the other one. So now we're doing the back-to-backs. So now we can see on the cheaper one, the MRC, on the left side is getting a very, very dark vignette. And the right side on the bottom is getting brighter. The sky kind of stays the same. So this is the True Color. As you can see, we're getting now a vignette on the right-hand side on the bottom by the grass. The sky is staying fairly similar, definitely overall better. We can see the waveform here twitching around as well. So this is now the control filter looking through the diffuser out of the window. Now, as you can see, there's a huge green cast when you first start off with the MRC filter. It doesn't change too much, but it's definitely green to start with. This is not a problem, you can just offset your white balance. Now the True Color, a much more true to color to start with, but definitely gets a bit bluer when we stop down. So here we are with the back-to-back on the MRC filter. Pretty obvious vignetting, but the color's actually very consistent, I'd say. It's off, but it's consistently off. Whereas the True Color has less vignetting, kind of more even vignetting across the whole image, but it definitely gets cooler. Here's a waveform of all four, so you can check the color cast and also the vignetting. As you can see, to start off with, they're very similar. And on the vignetting side, the MRC definitely gets more vignetting than the True Color. So to summarize, as you can see from the images, the MRC has a very green cast, which as long as you set your white balance after you've put the filter on, it's not really too much of a problem. And when you stop down, it's not really adjusting very much. It's vignetting like all hell, but it's not actually changing that much, the color. The True Color, however, is much more on ND2, when it's open, so to speak, it's much truer to no filter, to the control. But when you stop down, it definitely gets cooler. I would prefer cooler than warmer, so I'm not too bothered by it, but it definitely does have a color shift. But at least it's not introducing any magenta or greens. They're a big problem. White balance is much easier to correct. As for vignetting, as you can see, the MRC is much, much worse than the True Color. The True Color definitely does vignette as well, but it's much more broad across the board, across the whole frame, whereas the MRC definitely seems to vignette in the bottom left-hand corner, much heavier and is much more obvious. So of course, build quality is also a deciding factor on any product. So let's have a quick look. Starting off, the MRC comes in a much bigger box and it's quite loose in there, and the True Color is fixed in its smaller box. They are both 67mm. What is interesting is the MRC is 67mm rear thread, of course, and front thread, like other ones. The True Color is not. It is 67 on the back, and, wait a sec, 72 on the front. So 67, 72. Not sure why. If anyone's got an idea, write in the comments. Who knows? Whatever. I got loads of 72mm filters, so it fits fine. But if you only run 67s and you want to put a mist filter on, then you'd have to step it down up to fit this. The True Color has this awesome little handle on the side, which is a nice little feature. It is screwed on, so you can remove it because it can get stuck inside your matte boxes. With the small rig matte box, wait a sec, when you screw this onto the ring adapter for the small rig box, the lever ends up here's okay, and then here it gets caught. So I use an extra UV filter with the glass broken out of it to make it like a distance holder, to step it away. So you can then, but of course with the matte box, VNDs are kind of crappy because you can't get your finger in there and turn it anyway. If anything, this maybe helps, so long as you can bring it far enough away from the matte box with an extender ring. They also have different coatings on them. The True Color, I can't go into the coatings, I'm not a coating specialist, but when you clean it with a cloth, it is much smoother and nicer and easier to clean fingerprints off of than the MRC. The MRC is by all means not bad, way better than my old VND filters from 5 years ago, but not as nice as this. So both filters have quite a different sound when you turn the rings. Let's just listen to those for a sec. So both filters are hard stops, so you can't over press them and create a vignette. However, the MRC has no scale, and the True Color has a scale from 1 to 5 stops. Not really useful. It's maybe nice. I'm not sure how accurate it is. I haven't tested it. It doesn't really matter. But if you know you're on a shoot and you've got like f2.8, ISO 500, and you know that 3 is going to work, you can change lenses, change filters, do stuff, come back to the same situation, use the same lights. It's kind of brings a little bit consistency to it. But for most people, we're just on the fly and we're just twisting it with our finger. It doesn't really matter. Considering the True Color costs 3 times the price of the MRC, I probably would still stick with it because of the build quality and the little lever and the fact that it's very smooth to turn and it has other benefits like the scale on the side and stuff. But by all means, the €30 MRC is really great for its price. So that wraps it up. Hope you liked the review. Hope it wasn't too nerdy. And yeah. Take it easy, happy filming, see you in the next one.